Cousin Jared, we just how has baseball been treating you lately?
I mean, I feel like it's been good. I have enjoyed my time on the show, and that last week has been very profitable for our pocketbooks. I don't know if we carry the pocketbook around anymore, but
I don't think so. I don't think it's a thing anymore. We did miss the pitcher prop last week, and you basically called how it was going to go if it were to fail. I have to make a confession to you and to the viewer, and I haven't even told the Discord this yet. Mm-hmm. I didn't have strikeouts available to me, so I instead played under 19 and a half outs, and that hit, and it felt a little dirty.
I can see how that would make you feel dirty.
A little dirty, yeah. We also missed a total in Coors. The weather changed overnight, and thus we have implemented the new rule: no totals unless the game is in the state of California or in a dome. Because I woke up the next morning, adjusted the total, and I told people in the Discord, and I actually texted you, Jared. I said the over 6 in the first 5 would be a pretty strong play. And so we have a new rule about totals around here after that, because it's happened one too many times doing this night before. So we're going to hold it back on totals unless it's, again, dome. Who cares? In California, other than the hurricane,
And in our defense, I mean, really, even with the weather at Coors, who could have seen that coming from the Rockies with how they have been playing offensively? Like, that was one of those anchorman moments where it's like, I'm not even angry. I'm impressed.
Those two teams, of course, are quite sad. I am wearing my Astros garb, even though they got owned by the Mariners this weekend. I was going to wear the Mariners stuff, but I have a feeling I'll be wearing it later this week because the way they're playing. Julio Rodriguez finally cooled down. He had just an incredible streak, unlike anything I could ever remember.
17
the Astros were able to get him out.
17 hits in 4 games?
17 hits in 4 games. That's just incredible what he was able to accomplish. So Mariners playing really well. The AL West is going to be a lot of fun. For other fans, it'll be more stressful for us. Not going to talk about the Astros. We'll talk about the Rangers, though, later on. But first, let's get to 7:20 p.m. Eastern. Mets at the Braves. Poor Mets. Offense still projected to be decent, but of course nowhere near as good as the Braves. Got a pretty big starting pitcher mismatch here. A guy you might not have heard of, Alan Winans. 2 starts, 1.59 ERA, and the FIP right in that same ballpark. XFIP a little higher, but he projects to pitch pretty well. I'm pretty high on this kid. I think they've been stashing him in AAA, and he gets an 86 grade. Like I said, the model's really high on him. I added him to our Dynasty Baseball League that I play with Jake, and shockingly, he was available, given that he is a Braves fan. But I think it's going to be a pretty good day for him. David Peterson, 5.45 ERA. Underlying metrics do suggest it should be better. If you like FIP or XFIP more, that kind of determines how you feel about how good you think he is. Model thinks he's just on the slightly wrong side of average. If you just look at the ERA, you'd say he's terrible. If you looked at XFIP, you'd say he might be a little bit better than average. So the model's kind of split the difference there, just saying, going to have a hard time getting the Braves out, because most pitchers do. Obviously, there are ups and downs in baseball, just like with any sport. But in general, this Braves offense is incredible. Model gives them a 70% chance, 71% chance to win. Close enough, 70, 71, whatever. It says that the A grade price would be basically anything that starts with a 1. The current price is minus 198. So we have an A grade play there on the money line. The run line price needed for an A grade is minus 110, and the current price is plus 102. So again, remember, if you haven't already signed up on Dub Club, this is all the information. You get way more than this that you get over on Dub Club in the cheat sheet that I send out every day, where it'll tell you what the A grade price is needed for run lines and first fives and everything. Just ekes into an A grade by about 5 to 10 cents, depending on if it's run line or money line. Y'all know me. I'm going to split the difference, take the minus 1. As an A grade, the implied odds are minus 148. Cousin Jared, is this a game that you like if you had to be more aggressive? If you didn't split the difference, and you should always split the difference, because that's what you should always do in life. Mrs. Professor, right? If you give her 3 choices, 1, 2, and 3, and she's always going to choose 2. But if you didn't split the difference, would you rather take the run line, or would you rather take the money line?
Well, it's good to know that Miss Professor will always choose 2, because Miss Cousin Jared, if you gave her 1, 2, or 3, she would choose 4. So that's good to know.
That makes sense, actually, knowing her.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so this is one of the rare instances where if you wanted to play this another way, I would be fine laying the 1.5 in
Mhm.
game because you've got an offense like the Braves that's one of the absolute best in baseball. And so this is a situation where if you said, hey, you want to take those, plus 110 odds or something, laying the 1.5 with the Braves, I would say go ahead and do it. Personally, that's probably how I would play it, just because these really good offenses have been good to us lately, winning by 2 runs or more fairly frequently, at least here in the past couple of weeks. But I have a hard time getting past that last bit of information that we had up there, where we showed just obviously the Braves offense being much better, but the starting pitching mismatch and the mismatch with the bullpens. This is just one of those games where any way you slice it, and of course this is, don't let Jake hear this, but basically anytime that you play the Braves, this is how it's going to end up. They are just going to be have a huge advantage everywhere against almost every team. But substantially in this one, they're so much better. So personally, I would lay the 1.5 of the big plus odds. But yeah, lay a run, play it on the money line too. I mean, any way you slice it, this is just an excellent play.
I took the Mets a lot this weekend, and one more than we lost. We didn't get them on Sunday, but we came away profitable backing the Mets. Not going to back them here against the Braves. And again, as we talked about last week, if you missed that show, just a reminder, right? This is a math show. We're not here to say the Braves are better than the Mets. You know the Braves are better than the Mets. The question is always about the price. We're going to play some favorites. We're going to play some dogs. We always talk about that. The question is always, what are the good prices? And we're seeing this one. This is a pretty good price to play the Braves. You can't be afraid to play bigger favorites. You got to figure out how to scale your wagers. Which again is why the scaling I use, is what it is. You got to figure out if you like the run line, the split. I like the split personally. We did the split here with the play of the day on Sunday. Cubs were up 3 runs in the 9th inning, give up 2 meaningless runs, still 1 by 1. Had we gone aggressive with the run line, we lost. We've gone more conservative with money line, we would have won. So that's the pros and cons of cutting in the middle here. But I like this Braves -1. It's a pretty strong pick. And again, I think we're getting a big edge here because I just think people don't realize that Winans is a solid pitcher. He's not as good as Strider or Fried, that sort of thing. But he's a pretty good pitcher. And this Mets team, not a bad team to back against the Cardinals. Different story against the Braves, unless you were getting really big odds, and we're just not. We're not getting those prices. If you gave me plus 300 on the Mets, I'd say sure. Like, baseball's a weird sport and weird things happen, but not at the price that they're big.
And I would say even if he was just an average pitcher, you've still got an advantage as starting pitcher. You've still got a huge advantage on offense, and you still got a huge advantage with the bullpen. So even if Sideline doesn't have all of the information yet, just because small sample size and everything. I think it's still a good play.
Projected total 10.4. Kissinger, that's another thing you have mentioned before, that you don't mind being a little more aggressive with the run line and a higher total. The books have it at 10, so I think it's priced fairly well. I'm not touching the total on this one, as there should be a lot of runs. We're talking about a park that can play pretty hitter-friendly in the right conditions, and you have those conditions here on Monday night. 90 degrees at first pitch, mid-80s by the end of it. Slight breeze blowing out. It looks like for now under 5 miles an hour, but the heat is going to boost the expected number of runs. But as we talked about, you never know with the weather. So again, that's what gets part of the update in Dub Club in the morning, is what's the weather looking like? Because this projected total, the temperature, we have a pretty good idea. The wind is what gets a little bit iffy. If that wind picks up, this projected total could skyrocket because it's going to be hot. If the wind's blowing out, that could really change things. So for now, still expecting a lot of runs either way. And of course, you kind of have to expect a lot of runs anytime the Braves offense is involved, and the Mets bullpen as well. This is one of those where if Peterson's not a guy to go 7 innings, and if he's not going deep, you have to be licking your chops if you're, thinking about the Braves offense against the Mets relievers.
Yep. This is one of those where I think the full game play is probably going to be better than the first 5. There could be a lot of value in the first 5, but definitely full game. You want all the innings for the Braves to score all those runs. And like you said, when it gets to the bullpens, even bigger mismatch for the Braves.
Yep. As you said, we might add on a little bit with the first 5. We might not. We'll see about that first 5 price in the morning. We'll update the Dub Clubbers with that. But if nothing else, this full game edge is definitely worth a look. Moving on to 9:40 p.m. Eastern, Rangers at the Diamondbacks. Both these teams struggling a little bit of lately. The Rangers, of course, struggling with a couple of good pitchers from the Brewers. The Diamondback struggles have seemingly gone on for about 2 months now after a really good start. The Rangers offense, despite the struggles this last weekend, still a very good offense, and we'll be facing a starting pitcher not quite as good as what the Brewers were throwing at him. Both these sets of relievers are pretty solid, very average, nothing to write home about. It's the starting pitcher discrepancy here that makes this game, along with the offensive discrepancy. Jordan Montgomery, a guy I've been touting for quite a while now, is underrated. 3.30 ERA on the season. Advanced metrics should be a little higher, but still a pretty good pitcher, as you can see on the screen, with an 81 grade. Slade Ciccone, one of the Diamondbacks prospects, done well in his 10 innings. I think he's a little bit different than Winans, though, in that the underlying metrics do suggest he's been pretty lucky in those innings. I don't think he's quite ready yet to be a good major league pitcher. I think he's on the other side of average. So a pretty big mismatch here, again, offensively and with regards to starting pitcher. And on top of that, the Rangers, the left-handed heavy, get a little bit of a boost facing a righty, and the Diamondbacks, a little bit left-handed heavy, get a little bit of a ding facing a lefty. So the difference between these offenses is more than what's shown on screen for the first 5-6-ish innings. We're going to be on the Rangers here at minus 151. Only a C grade. The value isn't there. So we always talk about, this is a math show, right? The Rangers are a better team. Should you be playing the Rangers? We think yes. We just don't think it's as advantageous to play at the current price as some of the other options on the board. It's a C grade here. A grade price would be minus 134. B grade price would be minus 146. So we are a nickel away from the B grade price model. So it should be minus 155. So worth your investment, just not the strongest play laying the lumber with the Rangers, who should win. But we just don't want to play too big odds because weird things do sometimes happen in baseball. Cousin Jared, tell us more.
As an Astros fan, I was not happy when the Rangers got Montgomery. That's kind of what I'll say. Like when they got Scherzer, it was like, oh, okay, well, that's obviously not the best, but it's like, hey, we got Verlander, we can kind of counteract that. But when they got Montgomery too, that's kind of like, I agree with you, one of those guys that's underrated, and you did not like seeing him go into the team that was leading the division. Both of these teams had some issues as of late, but the thing is, we don't want to get too caught up in what's happened very recently. Let's zoom out a little bit. And when you zoom out a little bit, the Diamondbacks have been having a lot more trouble for a lot longer period of time than what the Rangers have been. And so this is one of those things where I just don't know if the Diamondbacks are going to turn around the rest of the season, because we just hadn't seen anything since the All-Star break that would make us think they're capable of getting back to how they were playing the first half of the season. So I like the Rangers here. I know it's just a very small edge, but this is one of those things where I think the Rangers are a really good team, and I feel like the Diamondbacks are just kind of like having some regression. I think they probably really overperformed the first part of the season, and you're just seeing them kind of go back to probably who we probably thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season, which was just an average team.
Which I think kind of reminds me a little bit of the 2015, 2016 Astros, right? A little bit, got a lot of young guys, just not quite there yet. And that's kind of what this Diamondbacks team is with a bunch of their young prospects. The issue with them, of course, different from those Astros teams, is having Gallen and Kelly at the top of the rotation is you hope to, but they just don't have it yet, right? They're just not there. They need more of these. They got these young guys. Fox looked really good as of like the last 4 or 5 starts, but they just need more of these young guys to keep coming up and these reinforcements, and they're just not quite there yet. They started off really hot, kind of like some of those Astros teams back in the day did, but it just seems like they're not quite there yet. Just a very average team. I think they got both those games on Saturday against the Padres. I'm not really making too much of that because it's the Padres, and it's, we've been kind of fading the Padres a lot here as of late. That will take us to our pitcher prop of the day. Get the slides out over here. We go. Jordan Montgomery over 17.5 outs. Cousin Jared, how many outs did Jordan Montgomery get in his last start?
18.
How about the one before that?
18.
How about the one before that?
18.
How about the one before that? 18. How about the one before that?
I don't know. I've lost count now. Is this math or statistics?
Neither. This is boring television. 6 straight starts of 18 outs, 3 of those with the Rangers, because that kind of does matter how the manager plays it. You see a lot of weird numbers there. And by weird, I mean not divisible by 3 numbers back with the Cardinals. They were a little bit more aggressive with middle inning pitching changes. That's not quite the style of Bruce Bochy, an old school manager who likes to let his pitchers finish innings. A little bit of juice on this one, but I really think this is a 6 or maybe even a 7 inning outing for Montgomery. I think he finishes up the 6. Obviously, he could get hit around, but it feels more like 5, 6, or 7, where 6 is the most likely. And then I think 7 is probably even slightly more likely than than 5. So you have a situation where there's way more ways to win this one than lose it. And as I mentioned, the Diamondbacks being a little bit left-handed heavy bodes well, allows him to potentially pitch longer because that third time through, he'll still have some favorable matchups. They'll be looking to go to a righty from the pen rather than lefty, and so they might let him stay in a little bit longer if needed. And again, you got a manager who wants him to finish innings. So really, this should be set at 18.5 in my opinion. At that point, I don't know what to do with it, but I'll lay a little bit of juice here, go over 17.5.
Yeah, I mean, 11 of the last 12 games getting at least 18 outs. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, which I think goes back to your point, which was my thoughts exactly when I heard this news. And they're rated pretty similarly, him and Scherzer. But Scherzer's a guy who he can look really good. He can look old, and Verlander's, of course, the same way. Yep. Montgomery's the guy I'm like, man, really under the radar pickup here who's going to give you innings and 6 innings pretty consistently here, as you can see on screen, and get a lot of outs and not give up a ton of runs, and that's just not what you want from your rival, I was
going to say, look at us saying good things about the Rangers.
Yeah. Well, if you want to look at all of the metrics that Outlier.bet has, Outlier.bet/professor, it's a free 7-day trial. Links in the show description as well. I've got a bunch of plus expected value plays. You can sort by what type of bet you want, by the game, different sports, and then you just click on a bunch of things. It'll make a betting card for you at one of the big 4 domestic sports books. So a lot of goodies over there. Check them out, Outlier.bet/professor, or that link's in the show description for your free 7-day trial. And we will go to Royals at the A's. Cousin Jared, back the A's. We'll fade the A's. Of course, kind of just back the A's if it's Paul Blackburn pitching. Lo and behold, it is Paul Blackburn here. 96 grade. Pretty solid pitcher, especially compared for what the A's have. But it's the other guy that I want to talk about, Alec Marsh, 5.68 ERA, and the advanced metrics suggest it might actually should be a little bit higher than that. Both sets of relievers are absolutely terrible, but this Royals offense, not a big fan of this A's offense. We talked about it all season. This A's offense isn't that bad. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's obviously not great, but the biggest issue the A's have had all season has been pitching, specifically relief pitching and starting pitching. They've gotten some of that starting pitching solved.
I was going to say that their hitting's not the worst thing in the world, but their bullpen is literally the worst in MLB. Yeah.
I cannot believe this, but the A's, according to the model, have a 63% chance to win a baseball game. That's what happens when you're playing at home against the Royals. Royals, again, just as bad as the A's are. Maybe the bullpen's not quite as bad for Kansas City, but the offense is a little bit worse. And again, you got the best pitcher for the A's against, not a good one for the Royals. Model says anything better than minus 145 is an A-grade play. We have an A-grade play on the favorite Oakland Athletics at minus 130. I cannot believe it, but it makes sense given how bad the Royals are and given, the fact that Blackburn has been just a solid guy. The A's have a couple of okay arms in the bullpen still. The biggest thing is getting to them. It's the back end of the bullpen that can give up 5 runs in the 10th inning to the Orioles, as they did on Saturday night. Cousin Jared, we love to talk about the A's, so have at it.
Yeah, we do. And what I don't need to say anything more about the full game. I feel like you just laid it out really well. When the first 5 line for this comes out, this is a run, don't walk situation because we want to be all over the A's first 5. In my opinion, I guess they could come out with some crazy first 5.
The price matters. Yeah.
I mean,
I'd be surprised.
Price matters, obviously, but when there's this, if it's already an A grade for full game, if you get it right at open, the first 5 probably going to be at least close to an A grade as well, or at least a strong B grade. And just with Blackburn going and just Marsh not being good this season, it's definitely something I want to be invested in. This is something that I would probably say if it's B grade, I'm down for it. If it's like a C+ grade, I'm down for it. Anyway, long story short, love A's first 5 at a reasonable price tomorrow.
At a reasonable price. And again, that's all of the sort of stuff that you get on Dub Club under $1 per day. That sign up link again is in the show description. Already given out the information to the people. What the A grade and B grade price would be for the A's first 5 money line and run line. That's already out there. I've already published it. I'll update it in the morning along with if I think it's worth a play. So all the information you need over there on Dub Club. Interestingly enough, total in this game. Model sets at 8.5. Sportsbooks say 8.5. Survey says, yes, spot on. I feel like there's really nothing to talk about on this total. The offenses, especially the Royals, not very good. You've got a pitcher-friendly ballpark. But with those bullpens, I just feel like Saturday night is a perfect example of why it's really hard to go full game under. Maybe if you wanted to, you play a first 5 under. If you felt like playing a total, but I mean, full game under is really tough to do. But full game over is tough to do too with Blackburn and these offenses. It feels like a total to just. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, goodness. Personally, I would not play the full game under in this one once these bullpens get involved. It's not something I want to be a part of. If I were looking for a total, first 5 is where I'd be looking there as well.
Yeah. All right, that is our show. Cousin Jared, any thoughts for people's Monday baseball betting action?
I love baseball, but college football has arrived.
I wonder, Cousin Jared, how did it's a good topic here if people are still with us. If people are interested in your opinion, how do you handle your bankroll when you have these cross seasons? Do you change anything up? Do you scale back on baseball because you're focused less on it, or because everyone now at this point is going to have to think. Some people just stop betting on baseball at this point, which I think is a shame. There's still a lot of money to be made in it, but how do you handle the adding on of college football, then soon enough NFL after that?
I am I'm watching less baseball, and so I feel like I have less kind of opinions that I can glean just from watching games than I do normally. As far as the bankroll question goes, maybe in the past I have monitored that more closely, but now I don't want to say we're in the situation where the sideline's winning all the time in baseball, but sideline has been this season, especially, has been much more consistent than what it's been in the past. We don't have 6 weeks.
Last year was last couple of years have been a little bit more of a roller coaster.
Yeah. And so this year is kind of one of those things. I just kind of keep doing what I'm doing, looking at what the model says, making my plays based on that, maybe tweaking a few things based on how I feel, what I see, like with the Rangers, for example, on this slate. And so really it's very similar for me. I'm just watching less baseball. Definitely like more of my analysis, thought, and viewing habits are way skewed towards college football.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I watch a lot of baseball, and our lives are a little bit crazy. As you can see, my backgrounds have changed a lot over the last several months. We have a house being built, and so we'll be up there officially in probably about 4 more months. But, until then, as our life's a little bit crazy. But I still watch a lot of baseball, and when I watch baseball, I have 3 or 4 games up at a time. But, we're getting to the point where Saturdays and a little bit Friday nights and Thursday nights are going to be some baseball, and there'll be times Saturdays. This will be the last Saturday I watch any baseball, I think, until playoffs. Other than that, it's going to whatever will happen. And otherwise, I watch a lot of it because I want to be able to see what's going on and talk about it, be informed and know what's happening, as this role. But Saturday's going to be a different story. The NFL gets going. It'll be even crazier. But again, as a reminder, we will have NFL shows. Jake will be co-hosting those with me starting up in a couple of weeks. We had our fantasy football draft. Mrs. Professor and I got roped into doing that with you, Cousin Jared. That was a thing that happened, and I drafted my second wide receiver that I drafted in like the 4th round. I literally had never even heard of the guy. So that shows you how little I've paid attention to the NFL.
So watch the NFL show is what you're saying.
Well, here's the thing. And if you're still with us, here's what my plan is. I'm going to watch the condensed version of every NFL game this season. That is my goal, is to watch every single snap of NFL action. So I will be informed by the end of the season. But starting off, it's going to be, and it always is with me. It's the model, the process of building the model. Been working on that. That is a science. And, we'll be watching it so I can talk about it. But early on, it is going to be a little bit of who are these guys? I'll remember them from college, right? But I won't necessarily know about them as much. I haven't paid quite as much attention to the NFL with my eyeballs. So we'll let the data do the talking, which is what we do here with baseball as well. As much as I know baseball, the model does the heavy lifting for us, which is what's great. Remember, if you want to get all the model picks, all the fun on Discord, all sorts of goodies over there, check that out on Dub Club. If you're looking for the play of the day, that link also in the show description if you just want the one best play each day. But otherwise, thank you for tuning in to this episode of Picks with the Professor. Don't forget to subscribe so you can show all sports betting content, provide us channel It's dropped right into your feed. We'll be back again all week with more baseball betting content. But until then, as always, best of luck. And remember, you can get your betting money, but please don't bet your eating money.